What's going on, everybody? So in this video I'm actually bringing you something a little bit different. I've done something similar to this with designer houses before. I've had a lot of people reach out to me in some of the cologne videos I've done recently asking what's the best cologne house and what are some of my favorites from certain cologne houses. So I figured I would gather up my 10 favorite cologne fragrances from the 10 cologne houses that I deal with or have a lot of fragrances from, and we'll just talk about them. So stay tuned. Now, before I jump into this first one, obviously I don't have every cologne from every one of these houses. I have just a handful from some, I have a lot from others, and what I deem as my favorite, you may not deem as your favorite. This is just my opinions, obviously, and my recommendations. So let's get into the first one. So a very popular cologne house would be Alexandria Fragrances, and my personal favorite is called Danger Zone. Now, Danger Zone is a clone of Raja Parfum's Danger Parfum pour Homme. Now, I've had the pleasure of smelling it not that long ago with Justin. He had a travel atomizer at first, now he has a full bottle. So I've gotten to smell it 2 different occasions now. So I've gotten a little familiar with the fragrance. So I do have to say this is a pretty accurate depiction of Danger Parfum pour Homme. While not on the same quality scale as Raja Parfum's Danger, the scent profile's pretty nailed down. It's about as accurate as I think you can get without having the exact same quality. The performance is stellar. It is beast mode longevity. It is quite loud. I wouldn't call it a room filler, but it's definitely quite loud, and it definitely smells fantastic. One of my favorites from Raja Parfums is Danger Parfum Cologne and Parfum pour Homme. I like the Parfum pour Homme even more. And while Alexandria's got a lot of great fragrances from the house, there's several that I do really enjoy. Leighton, Royal Equestrian, you know, their clone of Leighton. This has got to be my favorite. I think if I sit here and whittle it down and look at if I could only keep one from the house, which one would it be? It would have to be Danger Zone from Alexandria Fragrances. Next, we're talking about a very popular cologne house that you probably see a lot of ads on social media for, because they do advertise quite a bit across social media. And while I have about a dozen fragrances from them, what's always been my favorite since I got it from them is Alt Fragrances FAROUCHE number 29. This is their version of DIOR Sauvage. So I actually did a full review on this one. Ooh, we're getting close to 2 years ago, but a little over 1.5 years ago. I actually did a full review on this one, and I've since come across several more DIOR Sauvage clones, and I don't just mean fragrances that smell kind of like DIOR Sauvage from other designers. I mean straight up clones of DIOR Sauvage from straight up clone houses, and this one's still my favorite. It still smells the closest, in my opinion, to the Eau de Toilette. It does have pretty similar performance to the Eau de Toilette, older bottles of the Eau de Toilette, without smelling too chemically synthetic. I mean, it is an ambroxan bomb, so it is pretty synthetic, but I find this to be the most enjoyable out of all the DIOR Sauvage clones I have. And in the event that I'm in the mood to wear something that's not, you know, I get in the mood for clone versions sometimes, and anytime I'm actually in the mood to wear a clone of Sauvage, this is my go-to. While I do like Crystal Intense, Executive, their version of Aventus, I find to be pretty good as well. I'm not a big fan of their blends, like Pristine and stuff like that. For me, my favorite from the house, from Alt Fragrances, is definitely FAROUCHE number 29, their version of DIOR Sauvage. Next, I've had several clones from this house at this point. I do a video here and there for them. They send me fragrances for review, which I do appreciate. I love, you know, having content to talk about with you guys. And while they do have a lot of really good, pretty accurate clones, and there are some that, you know, just misses for me and they just don't suit my taste at all. For me, from Dossier Perfumes, Fresh Woody number 4. Now, I'm not sure what it's called now. This is an older bottle. This is the one I actually wear the most when I'm in the mood for something from Dossier. This is their version of Polo Blue. So this is an eau de parfum concentration. Oh, this smells so good. And this is actually what I wore out the shower tonight. It's actually currently on me, and I'm going to give myself a few more sprays, actually. I love this fragrance. This is the freshest fragrance besides one other in this video. I like wearing this better than actual Polo Blue because it performs better and it's a bit richer. It's very accurate and similar to Polo Blue EDP. And I actually find it to perform a little bit better than Polo Blue EDP. Like I said, I don't know what it's called now. It's not called Fresh Woody No. 4 anymore. They did change the names and a little bit of how the presentation is with the cards and stuff like that. But doesn't change the fact that their version of Polo Blue, Dossier Perfume's version of Polo Blue, is not only accurate in scent profile, it performs great. So if you like great performing freshies, you like the light blue, Polo Blue style of fragrance, you'll definitely like this one. Like I said, just check for what's their clone of Polo Blue. Like I said, I don't know what it's called anymore since they changed the names, but it used to be Fresh Woody No. 4, and for me, hands down, my favorite clone from Dossier Perfumes. Next, this is a small little independent house that mostly does clones, does have some originals, but this one in particular is definitely inspired very closely to another Roja Parfums fragrance, this being SAMY ANDRAUS Fragrances. This is Blue Sapphire. So this is Samy's version of Roja Parfums Elysium. I actually wear this. Now I have Elysium Parfum Cologne. This is a clone of the Parfum pour Homme. A little bit richer than the Parfum Cologne. The cologne's lighter and fresher, but I actually wear this more than Roja Parfums Elysium. It does perform better, and like I said, it's a little bit richer. It's much more metallic, citrus fresh. This is more of a citrus aromatic take on what the original being an aromatic fougere. So you take away some of the fougere qualities, some of the herbaceous notes and such. You leave the leather and the citruses and stuff like that, and you get Blue Sapphire. I have multiple bottles of this. I have a pretty good dent in this particular bottle. This is one of my go-tos when it comes to clone fragrances. This is probably the clone fragrance I wear the absolute most. The absolute most out of all of the fragrances I have that smell like something else. This is kind of my go-to. You can wear this one year-round. It performs. It definitely gets compliments in my experience. It's the one to get. Anytime somebody asks me what should I try from SAMY ANDRAUS fragrances, this is the first thing I say. Make sure to try Blue Sapphire because, in my opinion, it's that good. It's definitely, while I do like Zion from Alexandria fragrances, Sensual Obsessions makes a good version of Elysium as well. This is still, hands down, my absolute favorite way to smell like Roja Parfums Elysium is SAMY ANDRAUS fragrances Blue Sapphire. So, a buddy of mine, Michael Dinsmore, started his own company a while back called Making Sense. Same name as his channel, his fragrance group on Facebook, and so on. He makes a lot of clones, mostly niche fragrances, and lately he's been doing a lot of blends. And he just recently sent me his two newest blends, Tipsy Angel, and then this one, Fallen Leaf. So Fallen Leaf, I don't know what it's cloning. I know that sounds kind of weird with this being a clone. So what he did tell me is he took 5 of his favorite fall fragrances, swapped out a few notes from each of them, and created this fragrance. This is boozy, this is sweet, this is warm and spicy, this has some greenery going for it. It's got a bunch of woods in the base when it dries. I had this on my hand earlier today. Today at the recording of this video was the first time I sprayed it, and my God, instant love. Instant love. Now look, Tycoon, his version of Roja Parfums Oligarch, had I not gotten this, that would have been what I would have said is my favorite clone from Making Sense. While this isn't technically just a clone of one thing, it's a blend of 5 different fragrances. It's cloning a variety of 5. It is what it is. It's my favorite thing that Michael Dinsmore has put out that I have tried personally, and it's one that I'm going to sit here and tell you, you need to try. If you were looking to make any orders from Making Sense, grab a decant of Fallen leaf. This stuff is incredible. The label looks cool. It fits the fall theme. The juice color fits the fall theme. And this scent profile, I don't think there's another fragrance out there that screams fall to me more. So before, the fragrance that screamed fall to me the most was 1 Million Privé from Paco Rabanne. And while that still screams fall time, I think this might have bumped it off of that spot. From Making Sense, I don't know exactly which 5 fragrances it's cloning. 1 Million Privé might be one of them in here, because I do get some of its signature in here, cinnamon tobacco type of smell. But Fallen Leaf from Making Sense, definitely my favorite. So, another small clone house. They do make a lot of really good stuff as well. Their version of Layton is quite good. They're another one that has a really good Layton clone. But hands down, as far as I know, they were the first ones to clone this, and I've yet to try a better version of it. But from 3-in-1 Parfums, this is Dior Homme Parfum. So the difference here, obviously not the exact same on quality. A little bit fresher in the opening, but the dry down's almost spot on, almost 1-to-1. This stuff is great. It performs. It's lights out performance. Dior Homme Parfum is very difficult to get here in the States, especially for a decent price, hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get a bottle. Or you could get 3-in-1 Parfums version of Dior Homme Parfum. And for me, it will satisfy the appetite. I do have 2 bottles of the 75 ml of Dior Homme Parfum. I have compared them side by side, and that's why I say the opening's a little bit fresher, but the dry downs, they get eerily similar to one another. Very, very close, eerily similar. And if you, like I said, if you're looking for Dior Homme Parfum, look no further. The best out there in my opinion, and definitely the best from 3-in-1 Parfums. They have several blends that are really good. Also, kind of like Making Sense does, they do a lot of blends. But for me, 3-in-1 Parfums, Dior Homme Parfum. So next is actually a fragrance from a shaving artisan, Strike Gold Shave. So Frank does put out a lot of fragrances. They are clones. And there's a few that are really good that I really enjoy, like Nostalgia, which is his version of Pacific Rock Moss from Goldfield and Banks. That's a really, really good one. But gun to my head, if I could only keep one, I would have to go with Uncle Jumbo. Uncle Jumbo is a clone of Parfums de Marly Layton. This is the reason 3-in-1's version isn't on here. Alexandria Royal Equestrian isn't on here. This is one of the main reasons that this video topic was sparked in the first place. I've had a lot of people asking me about what's a great clone for Layton, what's a great clone for Layton. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of really good clones for Layton. I'm not going to sit here in front and act like there is not. But for me, the opening's a little bit fresher. You don't quite get as much of a dose of that Vicks Vapor Rub heavy menthol geranium opening on here. It's freshened up a little bit, but what's different about this one is it's a nuclear performer. It performs much better than Royal Equestrian for me. This stuff is like a 16-18 hour type of longevity fragrance on my skin. It's outrageous. If you're looking for a nuclear beast, Uncle Jumbo, my favorite Layton clone, definitely the way to go in my opinion. The opening is not spot on, but the dry down is to Layton. It becomes that spicy vanilla fragrance that everybody knows and loves. It's just a little bit fresher. You get a little bit more apple at the top here with less of the geranium. So if that Vicks Vapor Rub type of opening in Layton, authentic Parfums de Marly Layton, is a little bit of a turnoff for you, this might be the solution. From Strike Gold Shave, my favorite is Uncle Jumbo. Their clone, Parfums de Marly Layton. So I've had the opportunity to try many fragrances from Dua. Dua is very well known. A lot of people know about Dua. They have kind of a cult following. You know, there's a lot of Dua guys out there, like there's a lot of Alexandria guys and so on. I truly believe some do better clones than others. That's why I say there is no one perfect clone house to go with, hence the reason for this video in the first place. And for me, this has kind of been my favorite, and while I've gotten a few different ones since, nothing's been able to knock it over. Some of their blends are incredible, don't get me wrong, like Caribbean Supernova, which is Creed's Virgin Island Water mixed with Roger Parfums Elysium. That's my favorite blend from them, but I would have to say my favorite clone is going to be Black Widow, which is Black Phantom by Killian. This stuff is just gorgeous, sweet tobacco scent, lights out type of performance, just like with Uncle Jumbo from Strike Gold Shave. Not quite 16 hours, but like a 10-hour fragrance, 10-12-hour fragrance on my skin. Quite loud. You don't have to put many sprays. That's why my dent's not huge. I do have a little dent in it. I've worn it a few times here and there over the couple of years that I've had it. It's an addicting smell, though. Strictly for the cold weather, in my opinion, because it is quite heavy, quite loud, sweet, dense. Can be cloying if it's warmer outside. But they make a lot of really good clones out there. Midnight Rendezvous. Another one, great version of vintage La Nuit de l'Homme from YSL. But for me personally, this has kind of kept me away from even getting a bottle of Black Phantom in the first place, because the clone of it from Dua is just that good. Again, this is Black Widow from Dua Fragrances, their clone of Black Phantom by Killian. Next is a little house called Genre Parfum. Shout out to Devin Bro, Louisiana native, my home state. My man, he just had a birthday recently. Happy belated birthday. And some of his originals are crazy good. Like RAMC, Ran After My Car. That's my favorite from Genre Parfums. But it's not really a clone. It's an original. So that couldn't go in this video, because that's actually my favorite from them. Commandante's really, really good. But for me, I kind of have to go Bonfire here. So Bonfire is a clone of Maison Margiela Replica by the Fireplace. And I just recently got Maison Margiela by the Fireplace. And I gotta tell you, now that I have the real deal for comparison's sake, the clone is that good. This is that good. This is still the best clone from these smaller clone houses, in my opinion, of By the Fireplace. Has that burning woods, smoky, roasting marshmallows smell that's just so addicting in the colder weather. The bottles have changed. This is an older bottle. I have worn this many times. You see the dent. Well, I don't know if you can or not, but you can see the dent probably in the distance because the camera's not right up on me. But really good performer, above average, 8 to 10 hour type of stuff on my skin. It's an eau de parfum concentration, not an extrait. 8 to 10 hours, plenty for me. Very well pronounced without being a room filler, compliment getter, just like you would expect with the By the Fireplace scent profile. I mean, in the air, you really can't tell a difference. A trained nose is the only way to really tell a difference, and even then, it's quite difficult. It is quite difficult to tell a difference between this and actual Maison Margiela Replica By the Fireplace. So for me, from Genre Parfums, Bonfire, clone of By the Fireplace. Last but not least is my favorite of all. So this should be no surprise. Those of you that have been watching me for a while, you were just wondering when I was going to put it on here, because my favorite from Sensual Obsessions, while they have a lot of good stuff, and I do have one to discuss with you afterwards. For me, their clone of Bond No. 9, Andy Warhol, is the best way to go. This is the must-try. Oh man, from Sensual Obsessions. I do have a vintage bottle of the original formula as well. I do have some decants of follow-up batches that I just sampled to see what had changed over the years. I mean, I've been dealing with Kevin for a long time now. Pretty much since the beginning of this channel. Man, the vintage batch is still great, but the newest batch is the best by far. Less floral and powdery, more oud forward without being too much oud. It's 33% oil concentration. Now, I did a full review on this bottle recently. Make sure to check that out if you haven't yet. I'll have an iCard somewhere around here probably. This is the way to go. For me, it's the best Bond No. 9 Andy Warhol clone I've tried. For me, Sensual Obsessions makes the best. I know I'm not the only one out there that feels that way. Anytime you're going to order a sample pack from Sensual Obsessions, or you're just looking to order a few bottles, my suggestion is always make sure Andy Warhol is in there. It is that good, as long as you like sweet fragrances, because it is a gorgeous sweet plum. Beautiful. Best plum fragrance I've ever put my nose on. Best clone of Bond No. 9 Andy Warhol is Sensual Obsessions. Andy Warhol. And speaking of Sensual Obsessions, we have one little bonus offering here. So, Creed Aventus. Nothing Creed Aventus was in this list. So there's a bunch of really good ones. Like I mentioned earlier with Alt, Executive, their version of Creed Aventus. I've always thought that was very good. Alexandria's got a few good ones. Dossier's isn't too bad. Don't recall trying 3-in-1s. Dua's got a bunch of different batch variations. They make some good ones as well. But for me, King of Kings from Sensual Obsessions, clone of Aventus batch number 13ZZ01. This is my second bottle. I used to have a 15 ml that I actually topped off and put in a giveaway once I got this bottle. This is a pineapple bomb. This is almost like straight pineapple oil. You can even look at the color. It looks like just pineapple oil. Has the smokiness, has the black currant, but it's more focused around the pineapple. This is fruity, 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 fruity. Pineapple and apple. Gorgeous, performs great. Little oily. I mean, it's a high oil concentration. A lot of these are. They will leave an oily sheen on your skin, but you can pretty much bank on they're going to last, they're going to perform for you, and you're going to smell great. My personal favorite clone, Creed Aventus, is Sensual Obsessions King of Kings. That is my 10 favorites from 10 different clone houses and one bonus at the end. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. What are some of your favorites from one of these houses? What have you tried? Did any of this spark your attention? What in this video were you expecting to see? What were surprises for you? Let me know all of that stuff down in the comments. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of these fragrances from any of these clone houses and you give them a spray now, pretty confident you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.